Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Systems and Outsourcing live Q&A. Welcome. So I'm just going to quickly get my Facebook page open so I can actually see if anyone or when any questions come in. So if you just log it on, this is the live Q&A. This is your opportunity to ask me anything you want regarding systems, outsourcing, hiring, working with virtual assistants, creating a more systemized business to help you to outsource your tasks effectively to your remote team or to anybody in the world, whether they're in the office next to you or on the other side of the planet. So if you want to ask me any questions at all, please put them in. While waiting, I just want to do a shout out for a really big event that's happening next week. Over the past 3-4 years, we've been working with clients by helping them to systemize their business through the Systems for Outsourcing program. We've had masses of feedback over that time and to help develop the program. That program has become quite advanced, and what we've decided to do is to actually go back to basics and create the perfect getting started with systems and outsourcing to learn how to really start from scratch and easily, without any tech barriers, without any nonsense or unnecessary stuff, just give you a perfect process that you can follow in order to actually take your business to the next level. We're going to share that process during a webinar next week and show you how to hire virtual assistants and how to work with them really effectively. So keep your eyes peeled, and we're going to be doing a live workshop next week to share all the lessons we've learned from all that time of working with all of our clients. Just have a quick look if anyone's asked any questions yet. No, so if there's no one on, I've got some questions, thankfully. That's a couple of people have pinged into the post I've done in the build up to this. So while waiting for anybody to ask any live questions, I'm going to do a quick question here, which comes up all the time. I've mentioned this many times before, but we've asked about 1,400 people the question, what is your biggest challenge with systems and outsourcing? And this comes up all the time, so I wasn't surprised when somebody asked it in the build up to this Q&A. That is, how do I find the right people? And this is an interesting question. So when you're trying to find a new virtual assistant to help you in your business, the worry is that you've got to find that perfect fit that's going to be able to basically solve all the problems you're currently having. If you're like most entrepreneurs, one-man bands, and 76% of all businesses in the UK are one-man bands. That means they have no staff at all. So the vast majority of businesses are actually run by a single person. So that person is therefore doing pretty much everything in the business. And one thing it can be quite tempting to do is to try to find someone to sort of take over the vast majority of what you do. And that would be brilliant if you could just hire someone from somewhere like the Philippines for a few pounds an hour, and then just basically them to offload all of the stuff that you want to do in one day. That would be fantastic. But the reality is you need to be a little bit more sensible about how you can actually get someone to help you. So you need to start by looking at what you're good at. And most entrepreneurs are creative types, extrovert types, not all, but most. And actually, so what you normally need as an entrepreneur is someone to help you to just do the day-to-day work and be a completer finisher. Elaine, I just spotted your question. I'll come back to that as soon as I've finished answering this question that came in. And so it's really important that when you're hiring, the right person for you may not be the person you think, because it may not be actually the person that's going to take over some of the stuff that you're doing. Maybe taking over the stuff that you, or should be taking over the stuff that you really don't like doing. Hi Gary, by the way, thanks for logging in. A really easy way to find out what you should be outsourcing first, and that will tell you who you need to hire, so who that right person is just to make a task list. Everything you do every day, how long does it take you, whether or not it's really complicated, so you may just think about it for a while, or whether or not you could probably get somebody to actually do that for you by just following a process that I'll share with you on the webinar next week. And then you basically decide which tasks that you hate doing, which tasks do you like doing, and get rid of the ones you hate first, but the ones you're currently doing. So make yourself a list of sort of 5 or 6 tasks that you think, yeah, I could get someone to do that and that would really help me out. And now you've got your job description. But be careful that you don't put things in like, oh, I want someone to be a customer service salesperson and to be a technical person and to be a great completer finisher admin person. You need to think about, generally speaking, group your tasks together. That's the sort of person you need. And on the whole, as entrepreneurs, you should be looking for someone who's a great completer finisher, great attention to detail, and they can just get stuff done by following your guidance. And so once you've figured that out, you can then go and do your job posting. And when you are hiring a person, a virtual assistant or remote worker, you can use lots of online forums. We use onlinejobs.ph to do our hiring. And really importantly, I'm not going to go into massive detail on the hiring process just now, but really importantly, again, I'll cover all that next week in the webinar. Rather than you putting an advert out there and sifting through hundreds of CVs or applications that come in, just simply put a link on that application to a Google form or another form that you can basically, an online questionnaire that you can then ask them specific questions that will help you whittle down the right person to work with. So in our 6-step hiring system, so step 2, so it's advertising, eliminating, testing, interviewing, onboarding and orientating. That's the 6-step process. In step 2, which is about eliminate, and that's about how you go from 500 applicants to 5 that you're going to shortlist in the shortest possible time. And the way you do that is just basically by elimination questions, yes, no questions, or questions with a numerical answer. So that then helps you get rid of lots of people that aren't suitable. And then you can, the best way, rather than trying to find someone who ticks all the boxes when they answer, like, are you good at this job? Well, yes, they're going to say yes. Or have you got experience in this? Yes, everybody can mold their own life experience into seeming like they're the right person for your job. But the single easiest way to guarantee that person is the right person for your job is to give them a little task, 10, 15-minute task, and ask them to do it. And if they come back and do it really well, and it should be obviously similar to the work they're going to be doing on a day-to-day basis, if they do that really well, that is the best interview you can ever give them. And then you can interview them on from that as well, just to make sure that you're going to get on, and then just give them a trial. And that 2-week trial is where you really find out if they're going to be a good fit. But this hasn't taken you huge amounts of time because you've whittled all the people out by doing those elimination questions. You've tested them, so you know they're probably going to be a good fit. And then that is how you find the right person. So, in summary, pick the task that you want to outsource, find the type of tasks that fit a personality type that you can get someone else to do for you, then hire somebody, put the job advert up for those specific types of tasks to get the right sort of applicants, eliminate those as many as possible to go from 500 to 5 or maybe to 10 maximum. Get them all to do a little test task, 15-minute task, have a look at the answers, compare them, all do the same task by the way, so you compare it. And then once you've done that, you can interview the remaining few. That is how you find the right person for your business, and every business is different. So I do have a live question from Elaine. Anyone else got questions? Gary, if you're on Soul and you're watching, got a question, please pop in your questions below. If anyone else is watching, please just say hello, tell us where you are. That'd be great. If you're, and tell us if you've already got a virtual assistant, if you're thinking of hiring a virtual assistant, where you're at in your systemization journey. Any comments, just so I've got a good feel of who's in the group and what sort of things might be useful for you guys to know. So anyone watching, just do that. That'd be really helpful. So Elaine, thanks for the question. I want to do Facebook advertising, but not technically minded. I'm happy to outsource the task. How do I give someone access to my Facebook page? Okay, so access to your Facebook page is a couple of ways you can do this. So Facebook, you can actually add other admins onto your Facebook page so they can do quite a lot of the things for you. So you can set up give your virtual assistant access via their Facebook account to be an admin on your page. So that's one way to do stuff. And there are certain things that you can't, that doesn't give them control to do, some certain admin aspects of your account. And so to give them full access to your account, you can actually share the login to your main Facebook profile. To do this, you probably want to have some level of trust with this person, but it doesn't need to be as much as you think. As in, people aren't out there to do you over, generally speaking. They're always bad at apples, but the majority of people in the world just want to have a meaningful job and get paid for their work and not get done over by their employer. So they're not out there. Most people aren't out there to get you. So giving people access to things like Facebook and emails, if you do it the right way, isn't actually as big a risk as many people think. So how we give access to our accounts, or how I give access to my Facebook account, is by using LastPass. So LastPass is a login sharing tool. It's not a password sharing tool. You don't give anyone your password. And this is a key thing to keep security as good as it can be. You basically give them you share the login via LastPass. LastPass is just a plugin for your browser, and that allows them to then autofill the username and password for any site that you can then obviously give them, they can then access. Really importantly, when you're sharing your Facebook page or Facebook profile, is that if they're based in another country outside of your home country, is that person needs to use a virtual private network, a VPN, to basically trick the browser, their internet browser, so Chrome or Internet Explorer, to trick that into thinking that they are in the same country where you reside. So there's loads of free ones out there. So we've used a couple in the past, so NordVPN and TunnelBear. TunnelBear is just super easy to use. It's free for most purposes of what you're going to be doing. It'll be absolutely free. And you basically set up an account which you can share with your team if you pay for their team account, or they can just set up their own account for free. They literally click a button, and it'll ask them to select what country do you want to go to. They would click for the UK if you're based in the UK, and then their computer would then think that they were in the UK. And the reason for doing this is because Facebook has lots of security features, so to prevent your account from getting hacked. So if somebody on the other side of the world suddenly logs into your Facebook account while you're sat at home and you're logged in on your mobile or your computer, it will fire up a security warning and will lock your account out. It's not unlockable, and it's just a process of often just clicking yes, this was me, and that's it. But it can be annoying, and it can lock things up at inappropriate times. So doing this with a virtual private network prevents that from happening, because Facebook doesn't get that security alert that you're in different parts of the world. So they can then access your accounts. You don't need to share your password directly, but I will just say one sort of caveat to that, one important point. If you share any password via LastPass, it's not totally secure. As in most browsers, so when you put your password into a browser, even though it looks like it's got sort of stars or dots, that's just to stop someone from reading, who's walking past you in a coffee shop or something. It doesn't actually prevent a tech-savvy person from seeing what that password is. And in many cases, you can actually press View Password after it's been auto-filled by LastPass, and it will show you the password. So LastPass is a convenience tool. It allows you to share your login with as many people as you want and switch that login access off really quickly. But if you ever have somebody who leaves your company, I would get into the habit of changing passwords on your main accounts. Actually, it matters if somebody else accesses them, because there is a chance they could have made a note of your password. Changing your passwords regularly anyway is a really good thing to do. So I'd recommend getting into the habit of just changing passwords once a month or so anyway, or if there's a significant change, like I said, in your business. So that basically gives anybody access to your Facebook account. It won't trigger off a security alert, and it allows them to then manage the technical admin parts of your admin in your Facebook page. However, as I said, you can actually set your virtual assistant or your whoever it is you're outsourcing to, set them up as an admin. If you're going to get somebody to manage your Facebook ads, Elaine, you need somebody who knows what they're doing. Facebook ads costs money, and money can get drained incredibly quickly. I've done this the wrong way, and I've wasted a lot of money on playing around with Facebook ads, trying to get it right. If you're going to do it yourself and manage this yourself, get yourself on a decent course for doing Facebook ads. And unfortunately, I can't recommend anyone directly at this moment in time. But when I find a really good course, I will let you know. We've done we've hired people in the past to help us do this, and we've done some free stuff that came out, and we've basically read a few books on it, but we haven't taken our Facebook advertising to a level which I'm comfortable about teaching or sharing, that much beyond the fact of saying don't try and do it yourself unless you know what you're doing. And once I get to that point, I will happily fill you in, but I'm not there yet on my expertise level. So yeah, and if you are using somebody who knows what they're doing, they would actually know how to access your account in the way that they need to. And you shouldn't need to share, if you are going to access to a professional or someone who's very good at Facebook advertising, they should be able to manage your account from theirs without you having to share access. It just depends on exactly what you're intending to do. Cool. Any other questions, please pop them in. Hi, Gary in Maidenhead. I've already said hello to you, but hello again. Thanks for commenting where you're from. If anyone else is watching and just comment where you're from, this is the live stream Q&A into our Systems and Outsourcing Facebook group. These are hopefully going to be regular events if people keep showing up, and for you to basically have access to me to ask me any questions you want about Systems and Outsourcing. If you don't know me, my name is Dr. Steve Day. I've been running the Systems for Outsourcing company for the past 4 years. We've helped about 140 clients to systemize their business process and outsource their work to places like the Philippines. So we've outsourced about 60,000 hours of work to our own team of VAs, and we've hired well over 70 virtual assistants for ourselves and our clients, and have managed up to 14 virtual assistants ourselves at any one time. So I've got quite a lot of experience in doing all this stuff, so please, this is your opportunity to pick my brains. But I will say, 4 years ago, I'd never heard of, well, I'd heard of one probably. I'd definitely never used a virtual assistant. I was a complete control freak. I ran every single thing in my business myself, even though I'd actually moved to Sweden. I was still trying to do it all myself with my business in the UK and my properties. I spent 15 years working myself into an early grave just because I couldn't let go. So I was totally convinced I was the only one in my business that could do any of my work, and it took a monumental shift that my wife got pregnant with my son. We moved to Sweden, away from Manchester, where I'm born and bred and where all my properties are, and then I had to basically figure out how to run my businesses remotely. That was when the journey for me started. And figuring out that I actually wasn't very good at everything in my business, and that I was good at certain things like solving business problems, creating systems, getting out there teaching. I absolutely love teaching, I love sharing, and I love systems. And once I got into outsourcing, which I actually did a course on how to outsource to a virtual assistant, once I got that bug, I've been hooked ever since. And this is 4 years of me just focusing 100% on teaching people how to do those things I learned in that first year really of me moving to Sweden, and obviously refining the process in the meantime. Hi Grant, great to have you on. At what point would you start outsourcing? You know what, that is exactly what I was going to suggest that I talk about next after your last comment saying I've just got into rent and just starting my business. And normally the next question that follows up, Gary asked the question, at what point should you start outsourcing? Normally the next question that follows, I've just started business, is it too early for me to start outsourcing, or when is the right time for me to start outsourcing? And it's a really important question, and one that I asked myself when I was starting out is, when should I put my hand in my pocket and invest the time to learn how to do this? Now, the cost is actually not that significant if you start slow. Obviously, if you're going to go full-time with the virtual assistant and you're going to use someone in the UK, you'll be talking, £500 a week just to get someone in your team. However, if you start slow and work with someone, say, from the Philippines, where the cost of living means that you can get somebody who's got master's degrees, they've got experience, they've got years working in industry, and they're looking for work on a more, to give themselves a pay rise, because the pay over there is so little. It's most of the companies, the government especially, it's very hard for people to actually earn enough to have even a basic quality of life. So they look to places like the UK, to America, to actually get a better income. And what we're talking about income-wise for someone in the Philippines to have a decent quality of life, it's sort of £3-4 an hour. It's not big money for us, but it makes a big difference to them, and you can really help people's quality of life by supporting people in places like that. And it does you as a small business owner, self-funded, just starting out. This is what you need. It's that lifeline, that help, that means you don't get overwhelmed, but you're not actually breaking the bank in the process. Of course, there is a cost, and you have to balance that up with your income and your savings and what you're putting into your business. But I'd just say this, I waited too long. I waited until the point when I was pretty overwhelmed with work when I started looking at how to get help. And many of our clients are in the same position when they come to us. The ones actually that do really well are often the ones that see the problem coming but haven't experienced it. They're not in it yet. So they know at some point in the future, say 6 months from now, that they hope their business is going to grow. And therefore they want to be ready. They want to have those skills and the structures and the systems in place that when they need to start getting a team and growing their business, they've actually got that in place before they need it. Because if you wait to the point when you are basically spinning plates and running out of time, you've now got to take on the burden of not only finding a virtual assistant and hiring them. That's actually the easy part. That's the part that you can pay someone a few £100s to do for you. If your business is scaling, the cost doesn't become the problem. What becomes the problem is that you've now got to learn how to be a remote manager, how to use certain apps like a project management, task management app really effectively and in a standardized way that you can communicate and get the most out of your team. You need to start thinking about how you're going to train that person to use all the systems in your business, how to get them up to speed so that they can be a productive member of your team without pulling you when you're already busy. You've now got to then, if you don't plan ahead, start to then think about training them to do all the basic stuff, like if you're in property management, because you're talking about rent to rent. So if you're going to be talking about maybe sourcing, maybe using property manager tools, maybe using channel managers, whatever it is that you are doing in your business, whatever the tool, if you're not in property, whatever tools you're using, then someone has to train that person to use those things in the way that you want them to. So if you try and do all of that in one go, at the time when you actually need it most, you end up in a pickle. And we see with many of our clients, they take the longest time to get headway because they've got the littlest amount of time to do the learning they need to see the benefits, if that makes sense. So I always try and say and convince people that it's a bit like that old Chinese proverb that everyone always kicks around, is when is the best time to plant a tree? It was 20 years ago. When's the second best time now? And it still it stands for this as well, even though it's a bit cliche. And is that if right now you've identified that this is something that you might need to do, and that is exactly why you're here, I presume, in this group, Gary, because you see this as something that you are interested in knowing more about and see this as something that's going to benefit you in the future, that you've basically get yourself on that journey now, and you've taken like good steps. You're coming to this Q&A, you're learning. That's exactly what you need to do at this stage. But actually, you learn best, and actually the only way really to learn how to manage a remote team is to manage a remote or one remote virtual assistant. So I would strongly suggest that you start working with somebody, even if it's only on a purely ad hoc basis, and even if you're only getting 1-2 hours of work done a week, or just an hour every now and again when you need it. Because just you breaking that barrier of engaging with somebody and then setting up the tools and learning how to use them, getting those small steps in place now, those systems in place now, will mean that when you do get a bit more work, that person's there waiting, and hopefully they can come and work a bit more. And if not, you can go find somebody else, because you've learned that process of engaging somebody as well. And it means you're not having to figure it all out. And then also, as you progress a little bit more in your business, you're going to find recurring tasks that you're doing repetitively, whether it's property sourcing or admin or updating websites or updating your course content, whatever it is you do. And when those recurring tasks start cropping up, you've now got access to somebody that you can actually go, okay, well, they could do that for me for £3-4 an hour. And suddenly, if that wasn't there, you just go, oh, I'll just do it myself. It's too much hassle to think about getting someone to do this. It's so, I've done it for years. I'll just keep on doing it. Or I'll just do it. And it's this belief that it's quicker and cheaper to just do it yourself is what holds entrepreneurs back. It's what stopped me being a more successful business person for 15 years. And it's the most common mistake I still see now. And I kick myself for basically just being so almost arrogant that I thought, oh I can do it myself quicker. Because if you're not doing it, it doesn't really matter if it takes them 2 or 3 times to do it that first time, because they will get quicker. People get quicker when they practice it. But it's the fact that you can then just do something else. So you can work on something that will generate income for your business while they take care of the admin. So having those structures and systems and access to somebody and just there waiting and just dabbling with it now and again will build up that confidence and build the skill set that you need. So the answer is to cut that long answer down to a very short answer, as soon as humanly possible, Gary, is what I would suggest. So any other questions? Elaine, will you be offering the service of training VAs that I can employ? So we have done that, and we've done that for a number of years, and it is a service that we will continue to do for some of our for our elite clients. But what we've actually found is that even though those services were available, because there is we have to obviously charge people for doing that. That cost barrier for people actually engaging with. But Elaine, I'm going to come back to this question actually, because you just made me reminded me of one thing that I wanted to mention to Gary, and this will be relevant to you, maybe relevant to you as well. Sorry for just going off there. Gary, if you're not ready to hire your own virtual assistant, which is a big step, I'd recommend starting using a virtual assistant agency, and you can basically hire someone on an ad hoc basis just to start that process, that dialogue, that communication of working with somebody. They are employed by the agency. First, this is how I got started. I used a company called MyTasker, and I had like 10 hours a month, and I ended up not even using all that 10 hours. And it works out, it's more expensive than hiring them directly, obviously, and it was like 2 or 3 times. It was like, I think, £10-12 an hour or something, which was a lot of money back then. I didn't really have any income, so to speak of, in my new business. And but I just did it and dabbled in it, and I did that for a few months and just tested the waters and learned the basics and made lots of mistakes. I didn't know what I know now. And so if you've got some process you can follow to then give that some more structure, you'll get the benefits of that very quickly. When you get the benefits and you see how easy it can be if you do it right, then you'll be much more open to the idea of hiring your own as soon as you start getting some recurring tasks to give to somebody. So that's what I'm going to say. Okay, so back to you, Elaine. Sorry about that. So will I be offering housing? So yeah, we used to offer this, and there wasn't a huge uptake for it with our clients. But then at one point we then did we basically decided to streamline our team, and we had a few virtual assistants that we didn't require anymore within our business. And we offered those out to our existing client base, and they were all snapped up and some beyond instantly. And what we realized was actually there's this barrier to people actually, we believe there's a barrier to people actually paying for that sort of chunk of cash up front to be able to hire somebody that they may not stick around, so you then have to pay again. And it's just sort of, where does it end? And so what we've made the decision of is to actually, instead of hiring people for clients for yourself, for example, is we're going to give you the opportunity to get our entire hiring system that we've developed over 4 years, and as I said, hired well over, I can't remember exactly now, I've not done it for a long time, I've outsourced it all, but well over 70 virtual assistants. So we've refined that process, and then we're going to basically make that available to people to use, to be able to then hire their own virtual assistants. And we're going to give you, as part of that, all the training that allows them to get trained up on our Systems and Outsourcing platform, so that you and them will all be trained up and ready to go and be able to work be a productive team very, very quickly. And that's one of the things that many of our clients say that sets us apart, is that you're not just you're not just getting a virtual assistant and then dumping them with a client. It's like the client learns how to use things in one way, the virtual assistant uses things in the same way, and therefore they become a massively productive member of the team really quickly. So that hopefully answers your questions about what direction we're going in. We will be offering some virtual assistants for our mentorship clients, but not for anybody else, because we're going to basically give you or allow you to get access to our hiring system instead. And we think that's what will be a better benefit, and it allows us to focus more on what we do best, which is about training, and that's the way that we want to focus our time. We don't want to be a recruitment agency, because we want to focus on training people to release themselves from their business, because that's what my passion is. Hopefully that answers your question. Grant, thoughts on Zoho versus GSuite? Wow, that's an interesting. That's like I've never heard that comparison before, Grant. I don't know how much you know about Zoho and GSuite. It's not two things I would put in the same package. If you're talking about, I presume, just thinking this through, I think if you're talking about the Gmail versus Zoho Mail aspects, then it doesn't really matter. It's more like Zoho is a comprehensive suite of apps, including, you probably know this, but just for anyone that doesn't know what Zoho is a comprehensive suite of apps. It includes everything from project management to a full CRM, sales pipelines, landing page builders, if I remember correctly, website hosting. I think it's not something I've used for many. I dabbled in it about 3 years ago. So I don't actually have, and I've looked at it recently just with as an alternative platform to Asana for task management. But and it was, and for that purpose, it would work. For GSuite, GSuite for me is Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides. What's the other one? I can't remember off the top of my head. Google Forms. Those things allow me basically like replacing Microsoft Office. It's also cloud storage, so the Google Drive, or we use Team Drives, and that replaces things like Microsoft OneDrive or Microsoft Shared Drives or Dropbox. So it's cloud storage and cloud collaboration apps plus email. That's GSuite. Zoho probably has all those things. It has most things, I just can't tell you categorically, but it has a whole host of other stuff. And GSuite is absolutely brilliant at online collaboration and file storage and sharing, and that's all it does. So it's brilliant, and it's cheap as chips when you compare it, especially if you're not on the sort of the high level business level. If you just go in the entry level, it's like $5 a user, and you need a couple of users for your whole business. Even when we had 14 staff plus 3, so we had 17 people, I think we only had 4 or 5 GSuite accounts, because we just use Gmail accounts for most people, and that's totally cool. So you don't need to have lots of users, whereas if you're in Zoho, you have to have a user for every paid employee in your business, as far as I can remember, and or paid person in your business, and you also, just the costs are much greater. There's no, if I remember correctly, again, I might even have a quick look, jog my memory, because I was looking at this the other day. Let's see if I can get the pricing up on here. Yeah, so it's about like Zoho is like a comparison to HubSpot. It's like a full-on everything in there suite of apps. It's actually probably got more than HubSpot. It's also got, I'm just looking here now, yeah, it's got your Writer, your Sheets, Show, so that's basically your equivalent to your GSuite apps. So yeah, the honest answer is, as I've never heard of that comparison before, because typically I think people that use Zoho are in it for other reasons. And if you're in an app, I would say, yeah, definitely use the stuff that goes with it if it's free and it's good quality. So the slides and the writing and the spreadsheets. So if you were already using Zoho as a CRM, it sounds like a really good idea. If you're not, then make sure Zoho is the right CRM for you. That should be the deciding factor, because that's the most important thing or the most difficult thing to change at a later point. And then decide, okay, cool, let's see, is actually their writing apps and things suitable, or do I need to use GSuite as well? I think they'll probably be absolutely fine. It's a big app. So I don't know if that answers your question. Quite a long way around. If you want to give some more details, Grant, I will very happily take it to pieces a bit more. But on a like-for-like comparison, sort of GSuite is a tiny part of what Zoho offers. So it's hard to compare them. Any other questions at all? If you want to ping them in, I would be very happy to answer. Let me just see if I have any other questions that I wanted to, that anyone asked before. I think I've covered most things. There's only a couple came in. So no, I haven't got any other questions that anyone's asked. If there's anything else you want to ask me, then feel free. I'll have to wait about 10 seconds and just talk, because I have to wait for people to comment, because there's about a 20-second lag. Just a last shout out. We're going to be putting into the group, we're going to announce in the group imminently about our new workshop we're going to be sharing with all the lessons we've learned over 3 years of developing systems and outsourcing about hiring and working with virtual assistants. So we're going to put it's our first workshop since June or maybe August, I can't remember now. 2019 was the last time we did one of these free workshops. They're always a massive success, and we always get brilliant feedback from them. So we've decided to start doing them again, as we want to be able to actually, I want to take the business back to its roots, to helping startups, self-funded, micro businesses, one-man bands. That's where I began this journey. That's the pain that I was feeling, working lonely on my own, doing everything myself. And the business is all about helping people in that position to just get over the line, to actually start making headway and not killing yourself in the process and destroying relationships and basically giving up your life to your business. Of course, if you're passionate about your business, you're going to work hard at it. I still work hard, even though I do none of the day-to-day operations in my business. I want to grow this business. I want it to become something that shares this message and these skills with the whole world. And we're transforming lives. And some of the case studies I'll be posting, as I've been doing a bunch of case studies recently from our clients, and it's just absolutely amazing the difference that our company's making. And I'm proud to be a part of it. And so we want to share that message with as many people as possible. And that's where my focus is, in really scaling things up. And so back to the question about Facebook ads a little bit ago, we're just getting into it properly. So we're going to be ramping that up. And once I've nailed it, once I've systemized it, I'll be sharing it with everybody. Don't you worry, but that's probably about 6 months away. If we get lucky and we'll get it. So cool. No more questions come in. So I'll say thank you very much indeed. If you're watching this on replay, please comment to say you've watched it, and obviously to the end, because you're watching this. Please comment to say you've watched it, because if you people are interested in me doing more of these, I will do more of these. Obviously, a lot of people watch these on replay, so if you are watching this, just comment, say you've watched it, was it useful, any of the topics you want me to cover. Obviously, if there aren't questions coming in, it's useful to have some topics in the background that I can cover, and you can always, if you comment in there, I'll try and remember to tag you in the future session when I actually cover and answer your question, so you can have that answered even if you can't attend the live session, and then you won't miss it. The way Facebook works is actually not many people see every post that's put in. It selects who sees posts, so not everybody in the group sees every post I do by a long shot. That's this way of Facebook making me pay for ads and pay for getting audiences and things. So, which is totally fine. They're a business, they've got to do that, but it's just slightly annoying. Build this group to try and help people, and they don't see half the messages that we put out there. But there you go. So if you like this, share it with your friends, tag your friends in, and then obviously they'll get invited next time as well. Thank you very much. See you soon. Just got to find the pause button now. Oh, there we go.